You ever sense someone watching your every move even when you know you're alone? In my old neighborhood, there was a man everyone feared, but no one understood. He didn't talk, didn't smile, just sat outside all night. His eyes never left the houses. Not the streetlights, not the moon, just windows, including mine. Imagine the tension of being observed by a living CCTV, except this camera breathes, blinks, and waits. It's that unsettling presence you can't tune out. Tonight, I'll take you through what I discovered the truth behind the silent sentinel, the mysterious routine, and the line between threat and protection. We'll journey from suspicion to revelation, and by the end, you might question who's really keeping watch in your own life. Let me set the stage. I just moved to this quiet stretch of suburbia picket fences, trimmed lawns, a soundtrack of distant dogs and muffled TVs, the sort of place that feels like bubble wrap, safe, protected, unremarkable. But on that very first night, the illusion cracked. Across the street, on a battered chair, sat the old man. He wasn't looking up at the stars or glancing at his phone. No, his gaze was locked straight at my window, fixed as a motion sensor. Now, you might be thinking, maybe he's just lonely, maybe he's harmless. That's what I told myself too, clinging to the idea of normalcy. We crave explanations like mental Velcro, right? But sometimes, the answers don't stick. They slip off in the dark, replaced by something colder. Suburbia's comfort can be a mirage. Behind every curtain, a story waits to unfold. Every night, the performance repeated. Same hour, same posture, back straight, hands folded like a statue in a wax museum. His eyes, twin spotlights, never blinked. Patterns have power. In psychology, we call it behavioral conditioning, like Pavlov's dog. But here the bell was dread, not dinner. I started to notice my neighbors. They'd cross the street to avoid his gaze. Conversations would stall if he was in earshot. One evening, curiosity burned hotter than caution, so I asked my next-door neighbor, "Who is he?" He paused, a hush falling thicker than fog, and finally whispered, "Just don't interact with him." That warning didn't satisfy me. If anything, it made the silence between us more electric, like static before a storm. A few nights later, routine failed me. I left my curtains open. Midnight came a cold sweat, a sense that something in the air had shifted. When I looked outside, my stomach dropped. The old man wasn't on his porch. He was closer, standing at the edge of my front yard, his silhouette sharp against the street lamp. Fight or flight instincts kicked in. The autonomic nervous system, like a smoke alarm inside your chest, screamed danger. I froze, heart racing, my mind scrambling through options. Should I call someone? Should I run? Instead, I reached for the curtain and, with trembling hands, slid it shut. But closing a curtain doesn't block out what's already inside your head. Morning brought resolve. I couldn't let the unknown fester. Adrenaline faded, replaced by determination. I crossed the street, heartbeat drumming louder with each step. His house looked abandoned, peeling paint, sagging roof, windows clouded with grime. The architecture itself seemed to sigh with age, like an artifact from a forgotten era. I knocked. No response. The latch, a simple mortise lock, gave way with a push. The door groaned open, spilling dust motes into stale sunlight. Inside, nothing. No furniture, no warmth. Just a skeleton of a home, haunted by silence. Except for one thing, a sense that I was not alone. In the living room, I found the answer. Fastened to the wall, a mosaic of surveillance. Dozens of grainy, printed photos, each one a house from our street. Like a criminal profiler's pinboard, every picture was annotated timelines, notes, color-coded markings. It reminded me of situational awareness, a military term for tracking every detail in a battlefield. At the heart of the chaos, my house was circled, smothered in scribbles, dates, lights on, lights off. Who came and went, movements cataloged like a security analyst's log. And below it all, one word, next, written in a hand that shook with urgency. The air seemed to contract, time crawling, as I realized I was at the center of someone's obsession. Suddenly, a sound barely a whisper crept through the silence. The front door eased shut, wood scraping against the warped floor. I spun around. The old man was there, filling the doorway, closer than ever. But his demeanor had changed. For the first time, he spoke, his words soft but heavy as iron. "I watch to keep you safe." The phrase lingered like static in the air. It wasn't menace, it was warning. He stepped aside, gestured to a half-open door I'd missed, a panic room, if you will, though it was nothing more than a closet. From inside came the unmistakable sound of breathing, not his, someone else's. In that instant, everything twisted. The Watcher wasn't the threat, he was the shield. So, what did I learn from the old man who watched every house? First, appearances deceive. Second, vigilance can look like paranoia until it saves your life. Third, sometimes the real danger hides behind the masks we trust. Here's your action step. Look closer at what you dismiss in your own life. Situational awareness and threat assessment sound like jargon, but they're just paying attention, like noticing which doors aren't supposed to be open. The old man's silence was his shield and ours. Maybe your neighborhood has a watcher too. Maybe it's you. Next time, I'll dive even deeper into the stories hiding behind everyday faces. But for now, remember, it's not always about who's watching you. Sometimes, it's about who they're watching out for. If you found tonight's story unsettling, good. Stay curious, stay safe, and keep your eyes open, especially when you think no one's looking.